Coach, how'd it go today?
Great. Normal first day. A lot of enthusiasm, excitement, a lot of rust, a lot of room to go. But like the look of some of the young guys. Like the overall competitiveness of the team so far.
You're always wondering, or you're always hoping everybody retains what they, had in the spring and things. Is that pretty good today?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I mean, you retain some of the schemes. There's always rust on techniques and things that you're just simply not able to do during the summer. But yeah, we're at a good starting point. It's just there's so much to go. And you got to get in and see the film. There'll be a million corrections, but again, the enthusiasm and mentality was good, and I didn't think our young guys were too hesitant. So that's, I think, always two of the biggest keys on the first day.
For you personally, is day one of season 2 any different than day one of season 1?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I feel a little more settled. It's not moving quite as fast for me, I would say. I remembered that I was the one that had to blow them up and had to break them down and all that stuff, make announcements. So it's it's a little. It feels more normal now.
When you get out here and you're working with your quarterbacks, what's the one thing that you kind of look for, or maybe not just one thing, but the things that you're looking for when you first start out like this?
Oh, probably not trying to do too much. Those guys have repped a lot around here. I mean, they know what we're doing. They've still got to get a lot better at it, but probably just playing within themselves, and then just the way they carry themselves, even when they make a mistake. You can't sit there and think that it's one mistake's going to kill me or this or that. You've got to be able to play through the ups and downs, and just like we're going to have to during the season. So it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
With a guy like Tanner Mordecai, it's the first time he's been out here with you. Is it really kind of just about learning your language, learning your routes and things like that?
Yeah, language, communication. I mean, physical skills are good. There's just a ton to go mentally. Like all young quarterbacks, but he's doing well with it. He's going to be fine. He's got a good mind for it. So he'll more reps he gets, the better he'll get.
Lincoln, what's your timetable for naming a starter quarterback?
I don't have one really. Just kind of see how it goes. If it obviously if both guys are playing at a similar level, then you get closer to the first game, and there's you do start getting up against the wall a little bit where you have to make a decision. I've had times where that's been the case, where you felt like you would go, as late as you could just to give them reps and to continue to evaluate them. I've had times where it's clarified really early, and we've made the decision much earlier than that. So I hadn't put a timeline on it. If I'm going to see how they play and where they're at and base the decision off that.
Is there an ideal part of the preseason where you'd like to have that resolved?
No, not really. I mean, we got to have it in time to get ready for the first game. But other than that, I think whatever that room does and whatever's best for this team, that's what we'll do.
What is the time to get ready for the first game? Is it game week? Do you need it before that?
It varies. I think there's a lot of other external factors on that. Who you're playing. What they do scheme-wise, what you have coming back. I mean, there's a lot. It's not just simply for them and getting them ready. So how many reps you're getting throughout camp. If you stay efficient, those guys can still continue to get a bunch of reps. So it's open. It's not like I sit there and say, all right, here's a date that absolutely, no matter what, we got to have a guy. I don't have that date on my calendar right now.
Lincoln, you moved Caleb inside. How did he look today?
Good. Looked pretty comfortable in there, despite, missing all the time in the spring. It's that position's a little tougher to evaluate, like a lot of these, until you get the pads on. But he's comfortable with our calls, knows what we want defensively. And I thought a couple of the guys we moved, I thought Caleb looked comfortable, as well as Jordan Parker. Getting him back to safety, I think is going to be a positive move for us as well.
I was going to ask about the safeties. You got 4 guys. You're trying to find 2 new guys back there. So today, especially, you can 7-on-7 and things like that. How did that look?
Yeah, a lot of work. I like just the demeanor of that group. I thought they did a great job communicating, getting us in the right calls, checks on the back end. You can feel there's a competition there. A lot of those guys are going at it. The guys that have been here, and then some of the young guys that hadn't played, like Broyles and Delarin and some of those guys. So it's and then getting JP back has been, like I said, a huge boost.
Lincoln, you mentioned competition. It's all across the board, but what about replacing Dimitri Flowers? What do you see out of that spot?
Yeah, it's a big spot for us, big spot for our team. He brought a lot to this team, not just offensively, what he did on special teams as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Another one that's tough to evaluate without pads, but I really liked what Carson Meyer did in the spring. And he, I think he's going to, really put up a good fight for it for sure. I mean, he's in place, I think, to be ready to play. Jeremiah Hall continues to get better, the young kind of talented guy nipping at his heels. And then we've also got Kobe Tillman over there, walk-on kid that we brought in here from in-state, that real physical kid that we're excited about.
What about the center position, Lincoln, as far as timing it up with naming a quarterback too? Do you want to name center first, or how do you evaluate how each one works with the centers and figure out when you name a starter for each?
Yeah, that's a factor as well. I think it'll kind of depend on how that battle goes too, almost the same way in the quarterbacks. But do they have some influence on each other? Yes, although, both of our quarterbacks have to be able to play with both of our centers, So certainly once you get starters and if those guys stay in place, they're going to develop a good rapport like, Bake and Eric did here over the last couple of years. But, those positions can change in one play, so they've got to be – you want the relationship and the closeness, and those guys, of course, on the same page, but you also understand that they got to be interchangeable.
Last time you had Kyler in spring ball, he was playing baseball at the same time. Whether the focus level was split a little bit, at least his energy level was probably definitely split playing the two. Now having him just in football, how much is that going to help him with focus of the offense and everything that goes with that?
We'll see. We'll see. I thought he got a lot better during our camp, last year when he wasn't going through baseball as well, and then counting on the fact that he was here with us all summer, so it's been a while since he's had to worry about baseball. So yeah, I'm sure it'll probably help. But he's been a guy that he's been able, when he's been here, regardless if it's been in season or not for baseball or football, he's done a good job of focusing in and being hungry to get better. And I haven't really seen his energy level drop. Maybe towards the end of spring a little bit. He probably got a little worn down, but he's used to it. So I hope it helps, but we'll see.
Does the competition start over or roll over at that position? I mean, how much are you letting those guys have a little bit of a clean slate, and how much is everything accumulative from what happened in the spring also?
Oh, it's still going to be about what they, this is a what have you done for me lately business. So I don't know that we're going to base any decisions on spring, but you kind of have an idea of where each guy was, things they were doing well, things they got to get better at. So I think more it just kind of gives you a roadmap to just trying to get each guy as good as you can.
Now that he doesn't have that extra year, how much is there a different mindset, have you noticed, with Kyler, knowing that this is his final year?
Well, I'm not going to really – I'll decide how I want to handle that. We'll see if it's his final year. That hasn't been determined yet. I'm not worried about it. If it is or if it isn't, that's going to have no impact on this year.
When you say that the A's have intimated that it is that something that's being negotiated still?
Well, like I've said the whole time, I've stayed out of the negotiation stuff with the A's. That's not my business. It's his business. But my hope through this whole thing, which is the case, is that Kyler is going to be able to do what he wants to do. And if he wants to go play baseball after this year, then we'll wish him well and be happy for him. But it's the ball's going to be in his court, which is where it should be. He's the one that's done it.
Has it been exciting for you to get back out here on the field? I mean, you have so many responsibilities now. You recruit so hard in the off season. Is it nice for you just to get out here on the field and be an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you get tired of the office. You're ready, just ready for football. And we've tried to even do it more this year, like we alluded to in the press conference the other day, of eliminating some of the different things we've traditionally done during camp, so that it can just be all ball right now for players and for coaches. So yeah, it's great. I mean, reason you work hard, the reason you recruit hard is to get these guys out there and get the best team you can. So especially when you've got new guys out here for the first day, other than game day, there's not anything much better.
Lincoln, how did it come about that President Gallagly was at the barbecue last week, and what does it say that you took the time to attend something like that?
Yeah, it just was an idea that we had to use the president. We were going to use Joe Castiglione as well, but he was out of town. But he's an important figure, obviously, for our university, and so anytime we can get him around our guys, our players love it. They've had a chance even as he lived in Headington Hall here for a while before he made the move. Our guys have really had a chance to get to know him, and our guys have appreciated that. Just that openness that your president, is going to be accessible, and he's I think going to be that for all of our students. So this is a great message. He was a lot of fun. He was a great sport, great for the families. I think he's going to be a tremendous leader for our university.
What's it been like for you getting to know him over the last few months?
It's been fun. He's a really, really interesting guy with a really dynamic background. has a passion for this university. You know, like I said, I don't think he would have even considered a job like this if he didn't. And so you can feel his passion for, you know, wanting to continue to take this university higher and higher in every aspect. And so, you know, you love to have a chance to work for a guy like that has that kind of vision and that kind of, you know, mindset and love for our home here.
You know, Coach Beatonville mentioned that Cody and Bobby will be rotating at both left and right tackle, and considering how good Bobby has been, how good Cody's been in the past, does that just signify that the tackle position is pretty strong right now for you all? Yeah,
the depth is probably as good or better maybe than we've had it in a while. Yeah, it's a sign of too just what Cody was, you know, able to do in the spring, you know, making that big jump. I mean, you know, knew Bobby was going to factor in. You know, you feel like if he continues to improve, he's obviously going to factor in. But we knew we had to find some more guys. And then excited about, you know, I think Quinn Mittermeier's had some of his best time ever here. He's really gained some weight, playing well for us. Eric Swinson, I would say the same, has been just a really steady riser. And then we're, you know, very excited about the young tackles we brought in as well.
I know you want to, you know, see everybody in pads, but did you notice anything different about Cody being under 330 now? The weight he's
little tougher to see just as we're moving, you know, and as you know, a lot of times as you're watching or calling plays, you know, you're not specifically watching the left tackle all the time, but I mean, watching him in drills and all that, you can tell he's really moving well. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. We'll get back on the tape and then know a little more.
Lincoln, you said at Big 12 Media Days you thought that the overall talent level was the best it's been since you've been here. Do you feel like with the guys you have coming back offensively that you could be better on that side of the ball around the quarterback than you were last year?
I don't know. I think those comparisons are always dangerous because there's so many factors on that. You know, who you play, staying healthy, all those things. Do we have? We've got the talent on all three sides of the ball to be a good football team, no doubt about it, and to be as good as we want to be. So, but the talent, you know, it only takes you so far. There's so much more to do. Leadership, intangibles, team staying healthy, gelling the right way, guys progressing individually. So. I definitely think the ingredients are there, but we've got a long ways to go.
Obviously, your facilities are really nice, but do you expect Baker to send down an RV at any point for the boys?
We've had some good text message conversations about that. So I told him I trained him better than that. So we've had fun with it.
You're going to be able
to could buy one.
What's that?
I said Kyler could buy it.
Yeah.
Lincoln, Fletcher, and Brooks have seen first-year running backs make impacts. How much do you think that feeds them through this fall camp?
Yeah, it's we've always had a history of it, you know, and even guys that have played before, even guys like Rodney and Marcellus, Trey Sermon that played very well for us. You better hang on, you know, because that position's always a strength here, and we've always tried to recruit guys that are hungry to come in and not wait their turn, and encouraging TJ and Kennedy to do the same, and they've. Have made a lot of progress. You know, Kennedy, I thought, really did some good things in the spring. TJ was hesitant early and really started to come along, and then got nicked up, had to miss the spring game. But they're talented kids. They're gonna get their opportunity here in camp, and if they're good enough, then we're gonna find a way to use them.
I know some coaches have talked about you have less practices this year. It seems like last year we were talking about how they kind of strung everything out, you know, with the two-a-days and everything. What are the main differences between your camp schedule this year and last year?
Yeah, 4 less practices is definitely the biggest. Most of the other rules as far as scheduling are the same. The off days, we can do some meeting time with them now, which last year you were not able to do that. So other than that, they're about the same. So everybody has to bump up their schedule, you know, plan for 25 and 29, try to get the same amount of work done. But probably the biggest difference for us is getting a lot of things done ahead of time, and then our guys not being in school right now. That is the biggest difference, and it's the biggest help right now.
So you go today and tomorrow, and then you can go to uppers after that? Is that how that works?
That's right. Yeah, 2 days and just shorts like today, 2 days in uppers, and the 5th day we can be in full pads.
Any injury updates or anything else since the last time we talked to you a couple weeks ago?
Nothing definitive yet. We have a couple of guys that we're just being cautious with, like a Basquin. You know, they're doing 95% of what we're doing, but a few things that we're holding those guys out of. A couple of guys that have a couple just very minor muscle tweaks that we're just being smart with here in camp and trying to just get them in the flow. And we're not trying to blow anybody out here the first couple of days. So, but no, nothing other than that, nothing major.
Thanks.
All right.